inspiration, education, action. This is the Seeds to Success Show with Ben Godinez on Money 105.5.
Welcome back to the Seeds to Success Show. I am your host, Ben Godinez, and your Insurance 101 guy. If you're wondering what I'm drinking here, for those that are watching, it's my new favorite coffee house. It's Riscate Coffee in Elk Grove. And I'm going to tell you, I was so efficient when I was at the coffee shop today. I was so focused on, producing the show today and all the things I needed to do. I feel like it's giving me superpowers. Go visit them in Elk Grove. All right. Hey, we're here with Caliph Assagai, speaker and co-founder of Seeds to Success.
Yes, sir.
And we were just talking about breaking out of those habits and breaking out of that mold which people have of it's for other people, you know. It's for other people. It's not for me. So if you had to sum it up into one word to break people out of that habit, what do they need in order to pursue the life of their dreams?
Desire. Desire is the one thing that people have to have. The desire to change, but also the desire to achieve something great with their lives. Mm. I mean, so for me, I'd been successful in a professional sense. I was president of my university at UC Davis. I worked in the legislature in a couple different jobs, worked on campaigns, went to law school at UCLA, passed the bar the first time, started a lobbying firm.
Not a big deal here.
It's not a big deal.
I mean, I just passed the bar the first time. Kind of a big deal. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I think the thing is that my life was actually terrible. As much as I had achieved this outer success that everybody could see, awards and scholarships and all that. Yeah, exactly. It was all a sham in some sense, because inside I was just dying. I was depressed. I was addicted. I was anxious. I was sad all the time. I didn't actually love my life. I didn't actually love myself. And when I made the decision to, change, to become a sober person, to, start to pursue my dreams and really escape the life I was living, it was because I had such a desire to serve. And I knew that the life that I was living wasn't going to allow me to provide the greatest service to the world that I was capable of providing. And that was the first thing that got me, Caliph, you are going to lose your opportunity to serve this world. Your purpose is going to go unfulfilled if you stay on the path that you're already on. And so for some of us, it's not about the addiction or something really dramatic. It's just fear of doing something, fear of taking a risk, fear of stepping outside of our comfort zone. And then what ends up happening is you end up living a life of no purpose, because your purpose scares you.
Right.
Your purpose is something that you look at and you say, but it's so much that's being asked of me. I'm supposed to be here to serve and contribute and be a responsible person.
Whoa. I'm just going to stay here in my safe little bubble.
Right. And I like bubbles, but you want to pop them every once in a while and see what's on the outside. And so for me, it was that desire to serve. And then now, switching from the lobbying that I currently do and will be doing for some time to speaking and coaching, it's a desire to have a direct impact on people, to be able to sit in a room with youth or adults and change their lives in that moment. And so when I started to, first of all, the desire to serve got me up off the ground and made me stand up and say, okay, I'm ready to be the man I was born to be. And then once I realized that, and I was like, I can take responsibility for this, the next thing was to say, well, if I can take responsibility for being this person that's supposed to be here to serve, what's the most I can possibly do with that? And then that was my desire to speak and to coach and to build a new business in a new area, to show people, hey, I just went through an amazing transformation in the course of 3 or 4 months. And I went from, broke to a high income. I think I quintupled my income in that period of time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was making more money than I thought I was going to make when I graduated from law school by 3 or 4 times. And then I went from sad and depressed to completely happy. I'm totally happy all the time. It's weird.
It's contagious, though. Yeah, it is. Right? It rubs off on people.
Yeah. And so, it was that desire to serve. And then the desire to set an example for people. It's easy to say, oh, yeah, you can change your life. I'm really encouraging. I mean, I'm doing the same thing I was doing 10 years ago, and I'm totally unhappy. But you, sir,
right.
You've got to set the example. That's what leadership is all about, setting the example. So when somebody knows what they want, they're willing to stake their entire life on getting it, which is what I'm doing right now with my pursuits. Right. That's when the universe really comes to your aid. When you're like, this is it for me. For me, speaking, coaching, this is it for me. I'm going to change lives like this.
Right.
I've done a lot of things in my life. This is it for me. And therefore, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful in this area. And the beautiful thing about that is that whatever it takes is service and service and service and service and more service. And there's no field out there that's not truly about service. So the question that you have to ask is, how can I be of the greatest service ever? And if you desire to be of the greatest service ever, you will be successful in whatever field that you choose.
That's right. You can be a mom that's like, how can I be of service? How can I host other families, or how can I, be hospitable to people around me, or how can I serve my community?
Right.
And you don't have to be a business owner to, be of service or whatever. Right. But can you? I want to rewind just a minute, because I think like you man, like right now, you have a wealth of knowledge, just a plethora of passion, desire, and information. Like, what introduced you to this life? Because I'm sure that you weren't, in high school, like, oh, I love Think and Grow Rich, and I love Napoleon Hill, right? So, like, what was it that introduced you to these concepts?
So, when I was making the transition from, being addicted to sober and having the, depression and anxiety, all that stuff, I really isolated myself for a long time. I got off Facebook, all social media. And I was like, dude, you have to change the people, places, and things that you associate with.
Sure.
And I was reading a book called The Grief Recovery Handbook. And that because I realized that a lot of my struggle really had to do with the death of my mother. It was actually her birthday yesterday. It would 11 years since I'd seen her last. Yeah, but I celebrate her because of the impact that she had on my life with respect to the love that she gave me and the happiness I experienced. A lot of people don't get that. But I was reading this book, and it was telling me about the life that I wanted to have, a life that was free, a life where I can just simply be happy. And it talked about what it means to experience loss. And I realized I had all these losses stacked throughout my entire life that were keeping me from living in the present and certainly from being really positive about the future. And around the same time, I ran into a life coach. And when she told me she was a life coach, I kind of chuckled. I was I did.
Not who you would expect to be a life coach?
Yeah, well, not even that. We went to college together. We were in a bar. She handed me this card.
Okay.
And this was like the last night I ever used drugs or, drank anything like that. And I just looked at her and I was kind of like, yeah,
sure.
Whatever. Yeah, I'll give you a call. That was like one of the worst nights of my life, right?
Oh, wow.
That's like the night I hit rock bottom. Oh. And so I woke up the next day, and then I'm, walking around my house, and there's like this card. I'm like, okay. I had made the decision. Okay, dude, I got to change my life completely. How do I do that? I said, well, I'll call this life coach person because right, she helps people. And so I sit down with her, and she introduces me to the program that she's selling, but then she also talks about The Secret, Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
And I watched The Secret, and I used the tactics from the Grief Recovery Handbook, and then I also found a speech called You Gotta Be Hungry by Les Brown. Yeah. And I looked at what was happening, and I just decided, I said, you know what, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to love myself, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to feel good, I'm going to change my life completely. And just the decision and the action and following the steps there really started, pushing me down this path. So then I listened to more Bob Proctor because he was pretty influential in that movie as far as who impacted me the most. And he talked about Think and Grow Rich. And so I started reading the book again. I had picked it up in law school. It's so funny.
Oh, really?
I picked it up in law school, and I read a little bit of it. But I had no desire to do anything. I was like, I'll never be a businessman. I'm just going to be all about, nonprofit service, which is great. I mean, if that's your goal, wonderful. I did a good job pursuing that goal. But I just didn't think it was for me. And then I found out that it's really not about business. It's about you, your potential, your ability to serve, your happiness, your fulfillment. And so that's what brought me back to this place. And then engaging in that was what got me where I am today, really following the steps and identifying my desire and just pushing full tilt towards my dream.
Okay, I got it. So you basically had a life coach that kind of kickstarted you into action. So basically a small community.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm sure you met, that's where I met you actually.
Yeah, we actually met through the same coach.
Right.
and look at you now. Good job.
What do you know? I've got a radio show. That's also what kickstarted me into, starting Seeds to Success and everything that I've done since then. So yeah, absolutely. Like what we talked about in the first segment, community, right? Building people around you that are of like mind, right? That are not going to tear you down, that are going to encourage you. They say that you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself around.
Exactly.
And what I learned actually this last weekend was I talked to a mentor of mine that added a point to that. You want to be the lowest of those 5 people around you.
Right.
Not just you want to be at the top of the 5 people because then they're not building you up necessarily.
Yeah.
You want then upgrade. You know, if you want to be a millionaire, surround yourself around millionaires. Once you become a millionaire, surround yourself around billionaires.
Yeah. Right? I mean, still kick it with your millionaire friends.
Yeah,
though.
for sure. No, they're still cool. But, pick the brains of billionaires and research, study. those people.
And that's what the power of mentorship. I can't tell you. I have my father, a couple other guys have been great mentors to me. And just being able to look at people who are at that level above and have them kind of bring you up. I call them my council of elders, some business leaders here.
Yeah.
And that's actually where I found with coaching. My coach was ahead of me in personal development. So she was able to bring me to a new level. And now I'm at a place where I'm able to bring people to a new level in their life, basically using the things that I've used to be successful throughout my entire life, coupled with the terrible life, right? That was really successful. All that stuff worked, right?
Yeah,
I was still successful for a reason. And then bringing the spiritual side, the fulfillment side to it. And just, I know what it means to go from unhappy to happy. Mm-hmm. And that is really the goal of all personal development, just to live in a happy place. And having somebody who's achieved that guide you can help you get there faster.
Absolutely. Well, one thing that you can sum that up with is living a life of joy.
Absolutely.
And I don't think anybody can take joy away from you if you have it.
It's inside.
You found the Lord, you found your passion, and you're helping people, and that's what I think life is all about. So stay with us here on the Seeds of Success show as we talk with Caliph Assagai with Caliph Assagai Speaks on social media.
Right.
All right. Come back with us.
Inspiration, education, action. This is the Seeds to Success show with Ben Godinez on Money 105.5.